Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am very excited about today's video because we are going to talk about possibly one of my favorite things in the entire world, and it has been since I was a kid, and that is my journals. So I want to share with you my journal collection that I'm using, definitely kind of my setup for 2025, and I think, dare I say it, the setup that has kind of brought me the most peace, the most enjoyment, and has definitely kind of returned me back to more like analog practices in general. So if that sounds good, definitely get cozy, get a cup of tea. I've just had mine, and let's chat about planners and journals and stationery and all those wonderful things. So I used to be very into ring bound systems, whether that was a disc bound setup or kind of like Filofax rings. Anyone else remember, if you were like a 90s kid who lived in England growing up, remember the school book fair and the fun facts and the spy file? I think that's a big part of what kicked it all off for me. That and the journals you'd get with a little lock and key, I lived for that. So when I think back to that, I think that's kind of what contributed to my love of Filofaxes. I have quite a big collection of Filofaxes, and even though I'm not really using all of them anymore, they just bring me joy, and I know that I go back in and out of them and use them kind of when I want to and as I need to. So the first rings that I am using today for 2025, this is the only planner I have for my work. I feel like everything else you're going to see is much more used as a way to slow down, to do things that kind of get me off my phone, but this one is a work planner. Everything else work related I generally use Notion for, but I do like having some kind of hard copy of something to lightly plan in. And this is a vintage Louis Vuitton medium planner. I think I've maybe had this 10 years now, and I think it was like 20 or 30 years old when I brought it. It's super old and I love it. And it's definitely my most kind of like minimalistic planner in terms of like aesthetic and layout. I did talk about this a little bit in my, what's in my bag video. And I did get it, it had somebody else's initials in it when I first got it, and I watched a YouTube video on how to get them off. Not sure I recommend doing that because it definitely is a bit of a process. And I went to Louis Vuitton and they were able to reprint my initials on it, which was really cool. So I have those on there now, even though it's a little bit messy, which they did warn me because you're reprinting over someone else's initials. Even though I'd taken the gold off, it still had kind of the indentations, but I didn't mind that at all. And I just love how kind of old this piece is. Now, what works really well for me in my rings planner, this is my work planner, is having what's called, I think it's called FC Compact is the size, and it's a little bit wider than personal size Filofax inserts, but not quite as wide as I think I've seen some brands that do like personal wide, which for me was too wide. And May Paper Co is one of my favorites for these particular kinds of inserts, this width especially. It just fits so well. And I'll do like a cutaway where you can see me comparing a personal size insert to the FC Compact, but I just feel like I have so much more room to write in this than I do on a personal sheet. So generally how this is laid out for me is I just have 3 sections. Again, the biggest change in my planning and journal kind of setups has been to make me be using everything that's in there and use things up, and to really, how do I want to say it, like actually make it function for me. As much as I love the big kind of planners and people making all the to-do lists and everything, I just got to a point with like 5 sections I never used. So I worked out what I needed, and for me that is just this is one of my mood boards. I love making mood boards in my planner. This is one of my favorite things to do. And so what I have in the first section, it's basically just like the calendar month, so I can kind of detail out my posts that I'm doing for my Substack, for my YouTube predominantly. That's kind of mostly where I post these days. And yeah, that's like a month on a page for each year. And it's perfect. It's just so easy. I have these little cute little tortoise shell stickers. Let me see if this is gonna come in close, from Cloth and Paper, which I have in the back, and that kind of signifies to my brain it's a Substack. Let's see if I can put these out on. These are the coolest things. Like Cloth and Paper is one of my favorite small businesses for stickers, like especially kind of like very functional planner stickers. So that's the first section, just month at a glance, kind of overview of what I'm doing. And then in the second section, there's another mood board. Of course there is, because again, I like to make it fun for me. I like planning to be as fun as possible. So in this section is where I actually use project planners. And let's see, so this is kind of like for today's video. And these are also from Made Paper Co. And I just have, it's again, very much kind of like what the content will be when it's due, ideas, like milestones. So for me, it's usually film, video, edit and add links, promote it, so let people know it's out. And then you can do like a to-do list on the back. If I need more paper, what I do is I'll just add like a piece of note paper next to it to add more text. And then these I got ages ago from Cloth and Paper. They're like inbox, outbox. So in this kind of project section, I use the inbox for pieces that I'm currently working on, and then the outbox is where I record ideas once they're done. So anything that's done, for example, this was my Substack end of 365 conclusion. So I wrote all the notes there. You can see there's like the to-do list. There was loads of kind of extra points I wanted to say for that Substack. So I just have it all there, and then it means I can kind of archive things, and when it gets too full, I can take them out. The way I feel about a work planner generally is I'm not really going to look back at this because I have a Notion template I use for recording things that I'm publishing. I do have a copy there if I need to look back, but this is just to get me off my computer more. If I'm going to a coffee shop and I want to make some kind of like work ideas, I like to be able to take this with me and work in here. And then the last section, we have another mood board, because I'm 100% that girl. And then in here, I just have notes, just regular notes. So that's the only 3 sections I found I need for work, is kind of like month to month to be able to record what's gone up when, plan things out roughly, a project place where I can write down anything that I have to work on with, again, anything that's due particular day, and notes, and then I have an actual notes section. So I just wrote down Substacks that really resonated with my audience from 2024, so I can refer back to it if I want to kind of go back to ideas. And yeah, just playlists I want to make, things like that, that's in here. I mean, I do have the odd like recipe that's kind of found their way into here as well, but it's just very, very minimally set up. And then I just have one of these, I think, is this Made Paper Co? Or it might be, again, I have so many stationery and planning supplies, and if you want me to do a whole video on like everything I use, let me know in the description. If you want to see like my stationery collection and planner supplies in general, I'm happy to do that. Of course I am. And then I just stick some post-its on here to be able to use if I need to. Going to the FC compact size inserts was a game changer for me, and I think that's why this has worked so well. So that is what I use for work. I have some blank dividers in there, but it's generally speaking just 3 sections. So this is my workhorse, my kind of like everyday planner for work. So the journals I'm about to show you now have nothing to do with work. That's kind of true and it's not true. I feel like there is some crossover, but generally speaking, I think of these items as like joy. I think of them as part of my attempt to slow down. So what I have first is, before I show you like the main 2 journals, I want to show you this one, and this is by, so this is another vintage Louis Vuitton piece. It's actually in really good condition. I think these like really hard to get now, but it has an insert, so it has this whole notebook, and I think this is from Aesthetic Planner Co. Again, I'm going to make sure I link everyone down below because there's a lot of small businesses I like to support for my stationery and planning journals. And what this is my book journal. So I can't say I'm someone who massively kind of writes up reviews of books at the end of it, but what I do like to do, especially because I get a lot of library books, is make sure that I have a place to annotate and record, whether it's just prose that I really love, maybe it's a quote that I'm like, oh, I want to refer back to that. And each time I start a book, I will write it here. So we have like Oscar Wilde, Picture of Dorian Gray, and I'll just literally write down my favorite things from the book. And what's nice is like every now and then I get this little book out and I just sit and read, and I'm reminded of all the books I read and the reasons why I love that book without having to kind of read a review. I know a lot of people like to do that in terms of book journals, but this just sits by my bed, and when I'm reading I can just kind of like add to it. It's very chill. It's not like I'm studying as such. It's more a way for me to remember what I've read and what I enjoyed. Okay, these next 2, I'm so excited because these have been on my wish list for the longest time, and I was very kindly sent them by Paper Republic. Now, the journals I'm going to show you, and I have to do a massive shout out to Jalissa from July Rose Jewelry. I'll link her YouTube video below, because when I saw her versions of these and how much they patinaed, I was in love. So I have these journals from Paper Republic. They are both the portfolios, and I'll talk about the differences in a minute. They do some that are just plain leather covers, and then they have the actual portfolio. So I have the A5 size, I believe it is, in cognac, I want to say, and then this is the chestnut version. And of course I have ordered a July Rose Jewelry journal charm, which I'm so excited about, so that's probably going to be a favorites video soon. So what I've been using in here, you can get Paper Republic notebooks and it comes with one little one inside here, but I've been using the Moleskine, I think they're called the Moleskine Pocket journals, and I like the plain ones. So you're gonna see in here I have so this is why the portfolio is a little bit different. It actually has these pockets in. So it makes it a little bit sturdier. Again, I still want it to get really worn and patinaed, but I like that I can put my stickers in here, because yes, I'm a 38-year-old who loves stickers, and I'm not afraid to say it. So what I have in here, I keep 4 of the Moleskine Pocket notebooks in here. Again, I usually buy like a pack of 3. I think they're like $9. And what I love about this is the fact that it's much less intimidating than having one giant notebook. I like the fact I've like already nearly finished some of these notebooks, and I have this kind of visual in my head of being like an old lady with a room just full of these notebooks that I could just pull out and look at memories and things that informed who I've become throughout my adult life. So I have a Commonplace journal. I will talk about each one individually. I have a writing journal, and then I have feelings, aka existential crisis, and then I have a style log. So I'm going to briefly walk you through like what each one does, but again, the fact that it's just, I think the biggest reason this has become more fun for me than rings is because it's easier to archive. I think when I was doing lots of ring planning, I find it's kind of all these loose pieces of paper, and it was the same when I tried doing disc bound. I love how small these are. Again, this is just so easy to carry around. So let's get into it. Let's get into the innards. Okay. My Commonplace journal, this is where I record anything and everything that I want to remember. That's how I think about this notebook. This is the one I'm most excited to review as an old lady. And even like in the evening, sometimes I just sit and read it like I would a book, and it just brings so much joy. So for example, I have TBR lists. I have books I want to read. I'll make lists of films I want to watch, things like that. But I'll also, again, I've been into candle making a lot recently, and I'll kind of include notes about how it's going, like which wicks were the best, what percentage of oil was the best in terms of fragrance, etc. And like, even I saw a friend recently and I was like, I'm gonna print, it's made me print out photos a lot more, and just having a little place to store them. So when I see something I love, or I have a memory I want to remember, I'm not having to go to my phone to remember it. So when I watched Jalissa's video about the tea tray, I literally, inspired by her, printed out this image and was like, here's the checklist. Like, I watch her videos and I like take notes. And even that is so nice, just to have something where like if a video's moved you, if a book's moved you, you're able to record it to refer back to. And again, like when I go to a friend's house now for dinner or something, I make sure I take a photo of it so I can write down what we talked about, what they cooked me, and even getting like childhood pictures. I'll even make like my own little sort of, what do you call it, like Polaroids. These stickers are Sarika Studio. I'm obsessed with these stickers. I will link those below. And doing things like a monthly review, like I'll kind of talk about like my month in review, like how I felt, what was the mood of the month, and being able to have a place where I can kind of look back at that, like, is just so lovely. There's something so nice about imagery being printed out, and I think for me it's the tangible, it's the fact that it's tangible. So Substack, I'm obsessed with Substack. It's definitely my favorite medium to enjoy content. And I find even in notes, I find like the algorithm will show me things where I'm like, I want to make that and I want to remember this. So I don't know that, it didn't say who the artist was, but I saw someone share these and I'm hoping you can see, it's so beautiful. It's basically black and white photographs, and then someone has used what are they called, embroidery silks, and made flowers and kind of like added kind of like a mixed media to the photos. And I was thinking, I want to try this, like with photos of my own family or photos I've taken of my friends, take them in black and white, and then do this. So what I love about the Commonplace notebook is it also serves as a reminder of like, you should try this, you should do this. It's a nice way to, I'm much more likely to do it than screenshotting something on my phone and just leaving it there. So then we come to my writing one. Now, as I mentioned, I write on Substack, and when it comes to my writing, it usually starts with an idea. Sometimes it starts with a line, and I like to have a place just to kind of record ideas. So whether that's content, again, I always have like a kind of favorites page for like my monthly favorites that I can kind of record there. And then this one, I have a main journal for feelings, but because I have this on me all the time, there are some times when I'm like, I just need to get out what is in my head. And I think of this one as very much like the existential crisis diary, like the journal where whatever I'm thinking, there's no judgment of myself. I just put it in here and it's like, ugh, get it out. Like it feels so cathartic to get it out. These are the kind of journals I probably don't want to read again. They're just like a place for me to get things out, which is why I love having the Commonplace, is the one that I love rereading. So I have feelings, and then this one is another favorite one of mine. This is my style log. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, on my Substack, I talked about how I did a year-long no-buy for my wardrobe, and one of the things we do, the no-buy has finished now, it was very successful, but one of the things I've kept doing is, as a community, we do, it's called the Wardrobe Playdate, where I give the people who are paid subscribers to my Substack, you get a theme every 2 weeks, like a mood board, I make you a playlist, and the goal is just to get creative with what you have in your wardrobe. And it is so much fun, as much as it is for other people, it really is for me. And what I've started doing now is I'll actually print out like the mood boards I've made myself and put them in here, and then kind of take photos of outfits I've really loved, because yes, I love a bit of index, love a bit of digital outfit tracking and planning. But this, again, it just reminds me of being a kid. There is something so nostalgic about cutting things out, sticking them down, and just being able to see. So I'll just make notes on like what the pieces were, why it worked, what I love about it. I have become obsessed with making like pretend Polaroids on Canva. So even if there's an outfit that I made a while ago that's been in my phone, I might be like, I need to print that out because that's a really comfortable outfit and you felt amazing in that, and it will be nice to refer back to. And sometimes I might see something on Pinterest where I'm like, wait, I can do that with what I have in my wardrobe, and then I'll kind of show like the inspo, the execution, and it's really fun. It's so fun. It just reminds me, like I said, of being a kid. How gorgeous are these little safety pin stickers from Serica Studio? So I'll have like these here, and then it's just a way for me to document what I come up with in, again, I don't want you to see too much because it is kind of like just for my Substack, but the theme we had for the Wardrobe Playdate 05 was your first style crush, and my style crush is Chloe Sevigny. She was my first style crush. So I made some outfits inspired by my Wardrobe Playdate, and I just stuck them in there, and it's so fun. I can't get over how fun it is. I'm so drawn to anything that reminds me of childhood at the minute, and getting back to pen and paper and away from my phone. So I mentioned there was another Paper Republic journal. This one is the A5 portfolio, and this I am using, generally speaking, for my journal. So I still have, they always come with these little cute authenticity cards that they make. They come with those. But again, the pockets are so good, and I haven't really found myself needing to use the pockets yet for this much, but I am gonna like decorate the cover and stuff. So it came with this insert. If you buy the A5 portfolio, it does come with one of the thin stapled inserts. This one is my creative writing workshop notebook. That's something I've been doing. It's like a fortnightly class I go to that's so fun. I tried so hard to find in-person classes for creative writing, and everything was online, and I was just like, I want to do it in person, I want to meet other people, and I did find one, I'm happy to say. So that notebook there is what I take, and I just work in that. Now, what I do want to show you, and I've already ordered like 2 more of these because I'm obsessed with this, is they call it like the book notebook. So if I hold it up here, you'll be able to see it has like the spine is kind of sewn. And what is so brilliant about this is that no matter where you put it, it lays flat. And this is one of the reasons I could never really get on with the, what is it called? The traveler's notebooks. They just wouldn't lay flat, and I would need a clip and a clamp, and it felt like I had to bring so much stuff with me. This is just beautiful. Now, the only thing I use, again, this is very much intense existential crisis and journaling. So again, it's very much brain dump, word vomit, just anything that comes out. And I've kind of, sometimes I dabble with morning pages. I think of it kind of like interchangeably with journaling. But what I do like to do is, where is it? I use these little tiny, hang on. I'm gonna put one on so you can see for tomorrow. So the only kind of like decor I do in this is these date stickers, which I really, really love. Again, I didn't want to be precious in here because it's very much like blah, but it just feels good. And I usually do it first thing in the morning or in the evening. Again, I find the paper quality of the books is so thick and luxurious, like you can't see through the other side. Really want to experiment with fountain pens again. That's something I want to do. And between, especially when I think about like joy, when I think about like the pieces that I'm most excited to and to bring the most joy using now, it is the Paper Republic journals. I feel like everything else, like I said, this is fun too, but I do wonder, will I end up just making a moleskin in here? And it'll probably end up in here at some point. So for now, I want to finish this book up. But this especially, like if I had to pick a favorite, I would say the A6 folio. It just brings me so much joy. I haven't like gone to town with the covers on this. I totally could, but I just took some stickers and then I just used some white clear tape from my brother, what's it called, like a handheld printer, and just wrote over the top so I know which each one is. But again, when I finish one, I just take it out and put a new one in, and it's so easy. And in terms of archiving these, that's what really drew me to this, was the fact I can archive everything so much easier. I do also have a 30% discount code off the Paper Republic bundles as well. So I will leave that code on the screen and the link to that in the description box. The feeling, the smell, the whole experience of using these is as delightful as the moment you open them. So I really do love them, and they're probably gonna be in like every favorites video going forward. But yes, I will leave all the information down in the description box below. Let me know your favorite journals. What are you currently using? And if you want me to do a video that's dedicated to like my favorite stationery, the supplies that I use day to day when I'm journaling, like the printers, the stickers, all that good stuff. Maybe even I can share some like Canva templates of how I make like the Polaroids and things like that go in my journals. Let me know if you would like that. And yeah, please subscribe if you enjoy this, and I'll see you soon for more.